Let us discuss the topic tissues of the body. What is a tissue and how to define the tissue and what are the various types of tissue. So, what is the meaning of the term tissue? Define tissue. What are the four basic tissues of the body? At the end of this session, you should be able to answer for these three questions. So, what is the meaning of the term tissue? It is derived from Old French. Tissue as a noun, it means a ribbon or belt of woven material or weaved material. And as a verb, the meaning of which is weave fabric strands. So, weaving a strands of fabric. Then the Latin meaning of texo, which means to weave. So, now you know the meaning of the term tissue. You must have heard some background whistles. This is teaching from the home. So, if it is in the class, I can control you, but I cannot control the people who are moving around to procure their daily needs. So, you have to bear with all these sounds and focus on the teaching material. Then, so tissue is a collection of group of cells of similar origin. So they have a similar origin to perform a specific function. Each tissue has a specific function and the tissues are bound to one another by a very small amount of fibrous and amorphous substances. So, tissue is a collection of group of cells of similar origin to perform a specific function and are bound to one another by a very small amount of fibrous and amorphous substances. Collections of similar cells and extracellular, that is non-cellular components that are organized to perform specific functions or tissues. So, the other way to define a tissue is collections of similar cells and extracellular, that is non-cellular components that are organized to form specific functions. So, if you see this flowchart, you can understand. The cells along with extracellular material will form the tissues. The various tissues in different proportions form the organs, and organs will make up the organism. So now you understand the part how to define a tissue. So that is the definition of tissue. Now you have got. Then, what are the four basic tissues of the body? Based on morphology, that is the structure and function, the tissues are classified into four basic types. So what are those four basic types? Epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. So look at the picture. This is the dissection of a palm of the hand, and in which you are seeing various structural components. So in this picture, we can see the epithelial tissue, the skin covering the palm. This is the epithelial tissue, and then you are seeing the connective tissue underlying the skin. So this is the connective tissue, and in this histological structure also you can see this is the epithelial tissue and this is the connective tissue. Then you are seeing the other one is the muscular tissue. So these are the muscles, and this is the microscopic appearance of muscular tissue. Then there will be blood vessels and nerves running in this palm. So you will be seeing the nervous tissue also in relation with the palm. So what are the four basic tissues of the body? They are the epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. So what is the basis for this classification? Epithelial and connective tissue are mainly based on morphological features, whereas the muscular and nervous tissues are classified based on their functional characteristics. So, the basis for the classification of tissues. What are the characteristics in brief about the basic tissues? The epithelial tissue. It covers the surface of the body. Example is the skin. It can line the cavities inside the body like the pleural, pericardial and peritoneal cavities. It can also line the inner aspect of tubular structures where there will be a lumen. For example, blood vessels and parts of the digestive tract. Then coming to the connective tissue. It joins, as its name implies, it joins and supports other tissues. It stores substances required for the maintenance of homeostasis like calcium, lipids, proteins, etc. So where do you find this connective tissue? It is seen in the bones, the cartilages are the examples for connective tissue. Then muscular tissue. Its cells are capable of contraction to move the parts of body. So you will be able to move your hand, your arm by contraction of the skeletal muscle and the blood circulation by the contraction of the cardiac muscle in the heart, and movements of solids, fluids and air along the digestive, circulatory and respiratory systems respectively by the smooth muscle. So, you know the examples for muscular tissue. It is the skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle and smooth muscle, the cells of which are capable of contraction to move the parts of the body, movements of solids, fluids and air along the digestive, circulatory and respiratory systems. Then the fourth basic tissue, nervous tissue. It receives information from the outside of the body and it conducts the information towards the central nervous system, where the information is processed or integrated and the appropriate responses are transmitted to the peripheral part of the body by means of the muscle, the glands, so in the form of contraction of a muscle or in the form of release of secretion from a gland. So the nervous tissue receives, conducts and integrates information from outside and inside the body and transports what are known as neurotransmitter substances. So the examples for nervous tissue is cerebral cortex, cerebellar cortex, the spinal cord and the peripheral nerves. So I'm reviewing again. So what are the epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue? So you can see in these figures, this is the epithelial tissue. You can see the cells with number of nuclei and which are lying on a basement membrane, so which is called the base of the cell, and this is the apical region of the cell which is showing certain modifications, and in this case it is the cilia. So epithelia is a covering or lining tissue. Then the connective tissue. In the same picture you can see the connective tissue consisting of cells and the extracellular material. So this is the connective tissue and it is supporting the epithelial tissue here, and it also joins, stores and supports the other tissues. So that is the connective tissue. Then the muscle. We are seeing the muscular tissue. This is the skeletal muscle and the function of which is internal and external movement. Then here you are seeing the nerve cell with its processes. This is the cell body and number of short processes, dendrites, and a single long process called the axon, the function of which is to conduct the electrical signals. Tissues combine to form organs. So what is an organ? It's a mixture of tissues. In this picture you are seeing the stomach. This is the stomach, and in this stomach if you make a microscopic section for observation, then you will see all the 4 tissues, and you can see the epithelial tissue. This is the epithelial tissue and its inner aspect towards the luminal side you are seeing, and blood vessels will be there, so blood cells will be there. Then the nerves also will be there in relation with it. It is the nervous tissue, and it has got a loose connective tissue is also there in it, and it contains the smooth muscle tissue also. So now you know from this picture. So organ is a mixture of tissues, the 4 basic tissues along with the blood vessels. in different proportions. That makes an organ. What is the clinical importance of tissues? There are what are known as tumors. So, any growth, you call it as a tumor, and so the tumors that are arising from the tissues. Sarcoma. Sarcoma is a tumor that arises from the muscular and connective tissues and blood vessels. Then the benign tumors. There are two types, benign tumors and malignant tumors. And what are those benign tumors? Papilloma, which arises from the surface epithelium. Then there is what is known as adenomas that originate from glandular epithelia. There are malignant tumors. There is what is known as carcinoma, which is a malignant tumor of epithelial tissue. There is adenocarcinoma, which is a malignant tumor of glands. So, if the tumors are arising from the epithelium, if they are benign, they are called papillomas. If they are malignant, they are called carcinomas. And the tumors from glandular epithelia, if they are benign, they are called adenomas. And if they are malignant, they are called adenocarcinomas. So, now you know what is a tissue, where that word tissue originated, and the definition of tissues, and the classification of tissues into 4 basic types, and their features and clinical importance.